Welcome back to the Lumiose Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we're going to be talking about this new baby Terapagos, baby ghost, whatever we want to call him, and how this Pokemon will not be appearing in the Indigo Disc. And now you may be going, this is stupid. Of course he's going to be appearing in the Indigo Disc. The Indigo Disc, we know, features Terapagos, and it's going to be set around a story. So obviously this thing that the Pokemon website points out is related to Terapagos is going to be in that story. And he is going to be very important to that story. But I think we'll actually see him much earlier than the Indigo Disc. I think that we'll be seeing this little guy in the teal mask. Now, this all comes from the little, PR posts, I guess you could call them, from the official Pokemon website and from Nintendo of America. All of these, when they announced this thing, said it will be appearing in the Hidden Treasures of Area Zero DLC. Now, this is interesting wording to me, because if you look at the reveal for the DLC, the trailer we got back on Pokemon Day this year, you can see they clearly state Pheasantipity, Munkidori, and Ogerpon, and Okidogi are all going to be Teal Mask. Terapagos is going to be Indigo Disc. They very much separate and say, these are in this game, this one's in this game. But with the baby Terapagos, they didn't. They just said it will be in the Hidden Treasures of Area Zero DLC, and they did not specify what part. I think this was intentional, because I think one of the big twists that's going to be coming in the Teal Mask is that you actually will get this thing in the Teal Mask. There's a number of reasons I think this is the case, other than the one I just mentioned, as well as just a lot of ways they could do this and handle this. So if you look at what we know about the Indigo Disc, we know that for the Teal Mask, you can play it the second you can leave Mesa Goza. So once you're able to ride on your Koraidon and the game becomes open world, go do the gym challenge, whatever you want, you can go to Kitakami and do the Teal Mask plot. But for the Indigo Disc, it specifies you have to have beaten the main story of Scarlet and Violet, and you have to have beaten the Teal Mask. Now, I imagine the reason this is because, again, obviously, this new little baby Terapagos is going to be very important to the Indigo Disc, so you're going to have already played the Teal Mask, so you already have access to this Pokemon, and so you've already gotten what little story they'll give us on it, in my opinion, for the Indigo Disc to kind of make sense, right? Now, we need to talk about another reason why this thing would be in the Teal Mask. I do think that it's very interesting that they're teasing this Pokemon already, and if it was in the Indigo Disc, that just makes no sense. Why wouldn't you be teasing a Pokemon from the Teal Mask first? Why would you go ahead and be sharing stuff about Indigo Disc before we know anything more about the Teal Mask? And you may say, well, it's because the anime went ahead and revealed that Pokemon. And yeah, that's true, but again, the anime already hyping up this Pokemon kind of makes me think that we'll see it sooner rather than later. You have to remember the Teal Mask will be releasing in fall of this year, whereas the Indigo Disc will be releasing in the winter of this year. And to be honest, the release date for it online says that it's April 30th, I believe, is the date of 2024. Now, this is not the release date. What this is whenever a game's coming out and they haven't officially announced the release date, they will kind of just put a placeholder date, and it's basically like the maximum wait time for that game unless something goes terribly wrong. Similar to how Scarlet and Violet, at one point before we knew when it was releasing, it said that it would be releasing on December 31st, 2022. Obviously, it released a good bit sooner than that, but that's just what they do. They say that the Teal Mask is going to release December 31st, 2023. Indigo Disc will release April 30th, 2024. This is all placeholder date, but I do think it is something that we need to be thinking about, the possibility of Indigo Disc releasing in January, or maybe even February. I'd imagine it wouldn't be later than January, but I guess February is possible. It says it'll release in winter of 2023, but if you really think about it, winter begins in 2023, but it doesn't end until 2024, so it kind of, even if it released in January, would still kind of release in the winter of 2023. I guess, you know. Again, I'm just saying we need to prep for it, and it's just more proof to me that this thing will actually appear in the Teal Mask DLC rather than the Indigo disc. We also do have the fact that they already are teasing things about the Indigo disc. We already have a page of the Scarlet or Violet book, depending on the version you're playing, that talks about Terapagos, and it talks about how it's like the creator of terrestrialization, and it has hexagonal plates, and they saw it at the bottom of Area Zero, or maybe imagined it, I don't remember, but the point is, they've already teased this thing, so I think because it's such a big deal, they'll want to drop another tease for it in the Teal Mask, and what better way than to give us this thing, which is gonna be either a Preevolution, a form of it, or like a Zygarde Cell situation, or a Diancie, Carbink, Manaphy, Fione situation, something like that. That's probably what this thing is, and so that's a great way to give us that hint in the Teal Mask, is just go ahead and drop that. And now, you may also go, okay, but if it's a Preevolution, which for the record, we don't know that it's a Preevolution, but if it's a Preevolution, how could they give it to us in Teal Mask and us not just go ahead and evolve it into Terapagos? And that's actually very easy to explain. They just lock its evolution to the Indigo disc. They did the same thing with Galerian Slowpoke back in Sword and Shield. They released Galerian Slowpoke on the day they announced the DLC, but because you didn't have access to the Galerica twigs, I think it was called Galerica, maybe it was Galerica, I don't know, but the little twigs that could make the items to evolve Slowpoke, you couldn't get the first one until Isle of Armor, and only then could you evolve your Slowpoke, and you couldn't get the second one until the Crown Tundra, and only then could you evolve your Galarian Slowpoke into a Galarian Slowking. So they could do the exact same thing. In fact, Galarian Slowbro and Galarian Slowking weren't even in the coding of the game when they released Galarian Slowpoke. So they could very, very easily just do the same thing with this baby Terapagos and have it in the game, but don't even have the coding for its evolution in there yet. So it is just not possible for you to evolve that thing. Now we need to talk about how we could see this pop up. Well, I previously did a theory that you should totally check out on how this baby Terapagos may be in our Terra Orb. The very, very basic gist of it, but again, I recommend you watch the full video for this, is that if you look in the Terra Orb, there's a crystal that is very similar to the crystal on Lico's pendant and Horizons, and that pendant ended up being the baby Terapagos. So perhaps it is in the Teal Mask that we will start to dive more into terrestrialization and learn a little bit more about it. I think this is kind of a given when you think about the fact that Ogerpon even has on his mask like Terra crystals, so I do think it will play a role. There's even all these rumors about us getting new Terra forms, and so again, they'd have to dive more into terrestrialization, and through that, they would dive more into our Terra Orb, and so perhaps at some point, our Terra Orb will open, the crystal will come out, and then we'll see the little baby Terapagos. And so, maybe we would just have it in the Terra Orb, and we now know, oh, it's in the Terra Orb. Maybe that's the whole reason we go to the Blueberry Academy, is because we know there's something in the Terra Orb, and we need it researched, and we don't have the material to do that in Scarlet and Violet, because Sada and Turo, our leading experts on terrestrialization, are dead. So maybe that's how it'd be, or it could even be a thing of it comes out, you're able to catch it, so you do have this thing with you, and then it would evolve later on in the Teal Mask, or would tie into Terapagos if it isn't a Preevolution. I think this would be really neat, because I think it would kind of give us Nebby vibes, but instead of Nebby being with Lily, it's with us. You know, that would really make you feel more connected to Terapagos, especially if you're someone who decides to restart the game, or if you're someone who's picking up Scarlet and Violet for the first time when this DLC drops, and you go and do the Teal Mask before you do like the gems or anything, you could have this little baby Terapagos with you on your entire journey, and so it will make it all the better when you get the culmination of it in Indigo Disc. Instead of you get Indigo Disc, you go there to the Blueberry Academy, and you get this thing, and then, you know, a few hours of gameplay later, it becomes Terapagos or connects to Terapagos. You know, this would just be such a better way to write it, and I really, really think that that may be what they do, because again, the wording of them saying it will appear in the Hidden Treasures of Area Zero DLC and not specifying what part when every single other Pokemon, they specified what part. That's just super interesting to me and very, very suspicious. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below on this. Do you think that we'll be seeing the little baby Terapagos in the teal mask, or do you think we will indeed have to wait until the Indigo disc? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications as well so you don't miss our future videos as we get more details on Terapagos and its connection to this Pokemon. You know we'll be talking about here, and you don't want to miss that. So again, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And until next time, I will see all of you later.